foundation here and have a chance to hear what they've had to say and all the things they've been able to do with the support of my family and my friends. A lot of people that I don't see very often are here. And, my sister-in-law, my brothers, and my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-laws, my parents, my in-laws. I mean, everybody's here, and you're here. So it's a very big honor to be here. So as you know, my name is John Gyselbrecht, and I was diagnosed with cancer on May 8th, 2014. And my goal for this evening is kind of give you the big picture of what that's like. And I know that there are some of you here this evening that already know what that's like. And maybe my story is going to be very, very similar to yours, but everybody's story is a little bit different as well. So, first of all, a little bit of information about myself. I grew up right here in Sunnyvale, just down the freeway here. I went to Homestead High School, and actually met a few people from Lindbergh High School here.
Woohoo!
Homestead was better. And went to Chico State, and Chico Wildcats. And got my degree there in liberal studies and got a teaching credential at what used to be called Cal State Hayward. Now it's called Cal State East Bay. It's a lot fancier than it used to be. And I've been a middle school math teacher for about the last 20 years. I didn't realize we had so many teachers here tonight. So anyway, it's a terrific job, and I highly recommend it. We're always looking for more good people, so please join us. I like to mountain bike, I play guitar, I like to hike, and read, and travel with my wife, and spending time with family is really, really enjoyable. And I'm 46 years old, and 6 months ago, if you told me I was going to be standing up here right now, I would have told you you were crazy. And it's been an interesting ride ever since. So, we get pretty used to telling people what we do for a living, but there's a lot of things that we all do that we take for granted. For example, not only am I a school teacher and a mountain biker and a car player, but I'm a husband, and I'm fortunate enough to have found my one true love in life, and Stacy down here at the front table. And although I think we've never taken our relationship for granted, we've actually grown closer because of this whole cancer experience over the last 6 months. And I think anybody who's been through this knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm also a son. I have two terrific parents over here, Paul and Kathy, and they raised me here in Sunnyvale, and they did a terrific job, and I owe them everything. I grew up in a great household, and my parents did big sacrifices for me, and I can't thank them enough. I'm also a son-in-law, and my in-laws are here, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, Eric and Nancy, down here. And I don't have a single mother-in-law joke to tell you. He's terrific, as well as Eric. They've been supportive of my wife and me on many fronts, and continue to do so all the time. I can't imagine my life without them. I consider myself a father of sorts. My wife and I were fortunate to gain guardianship of a lovely young relative of ours, Alana, who's also here. And she was going through a rough stretch, a certain part of her life as well, and we were fortunate enough to be able to take her in, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, and I love her dearly. Very proud of you. I'm a brother, I have a sister, her name's Julie, and she's here with her husband Pat, and I have 3 sisters-in-law, and one of them is here, her name's Kira, and she's here with her husband Matt. He's fantastic, as is Pat. and they're here today. And, I'm a grandson at the age of 46 years old. I don't know how many people my age can say that, but my grandmother, she's in her 90s, and she's going through some pretty, serious medical things right now, and she never gives up, and she inspires me when I think of her, which is every single day. And I'm an uncle, I'm a nephew, I'm a cousin, one of which his name is Natalie Baranton, who actually works in the oncology department at Stanford. So how weird is that? She was actually very, very helpful. And I'm a friend to a lot of people, and a lot of my friends are here today. Most of my friends go all the way back growing up in Sunnyvale. Some I've known for almost 40 years, and others I've known from high school, or sports, or college, or work, or through my wife or colleagues. And a lot of them are here today. Where are all of you? Where are all these friends? So when I was diagnosed with cancer on May 8th of this year, I wasn't the only person that was affected by that diagnosis. Cancer creates what I refer to as a blast zone, and it leaves a really big crater in the middle of your life, much like a bomb would. And people that are close to ground zero, they get blasted just as much as I do. And in my opinion, they face greater challenges than I do. And I know that my cancer is most likely going to run its course over time, and that this disease is most likely to end my life. But life is finite, and I understand that we're all going to die at some point, and I can accept that. However, the people in the blast zone have to live on with memories and loss, etc. And I met some of those people tonight, and I'm very, very inspired by them. Mothers and fathers lose sons, and sisters lose brothers, and wives lose husbands, and that's a terrible, terrible thing associated with this disease. So people often ask me what it's like to have cancer, and the obvious answer is, it sucks. It's not nice, that's right. But people have never experienced cancer, they always want to, usually what they're referring to is chemotherapy, and that I've endured. And just last month I finished my 19th week of chemotherapy. And they're curious about it, and they always ask questions like, did you get sick? Did your hair fall out? Did it hurt? Are you in pain? And I was fortunate enough to not have a fairly, real negative experience with chemotherapy. I experienced very few side effects, and I didn't lose my hair, and I didn't get any nausea, and I can do pain, I can do the side effects, I can do the physical things associated with gastric cancer. The people who have experienced cancer, they ask different questions. They ask you how your wife is doing, or they ask if your parents are okay, or how you're feeling, or how the students at your school handling all this. They ask different types of questions because they've been through it before. And cancer is a two-headed monster, really. One head of the monster deals with the physical, and the other one works at you emotionally, which is really the most difficult of the two to adapt to. Once again, the people in my blast zone, as I like to see it, they're greatly affected by all this, and they feel my pain, and they experience their own pain. And I feel the pain of every single one of those people that cares for me. And it's a really big burden to carry sometimes. And sometimes you feel responsible for everybody else's pain, as if you could have made a difference somehow and prevented all this from happening, which is ridiculous, of course, but sometimes you feel that way. And we did the best we could to beat this and to save myself and to spare the people their pain and lessen the burden I carry with me each day. And at this point in time, I've been unsuccessful in doing so. I should say I have been, or I should say we have been. It's really been a team effort. But I have great hope that someday soon things are going to work out for better. And being here tonight and meeting all of you that are working so hard to make a difference and find a cure for this is very, very inspiring. And I have great hope that one day that's going to happen. If not for me, then for thousands of other people. So when you're first diagnosed, you immediately think, why me? I lived a healthy lifestyle. I exercise regularly. I see my doctor annually. I get my blood work done every single year, and nobody ever picked up that I had cancer, which was interesting because my doctor told me that I probably had it for up to 2 years, and it was never detected. So as far as I was concerned, I've been doing everything right. And same with the doctor, as far as they're concerned, I was doing everything right. And when I later learned that I could have had cancer this long, I was completely flabbergasted because I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. So another question people ask me is, how did you know that you were sick? And as many of you know, the symptoms for gastric cancer are usually undetectable until it's at its later stages. And like I said, for me it was stage 3. It wasn't until I had issues swallowing food that I realized that something was up. So I became aware that something's wrong. It didn't feel like anything major. It's just something you probably experienced a million times before. Or you're eating something, you swallow it, and it feels like it gets stuck right here in the center of your chest. I would say going down the wrong pipe, right? And it happened again, and it happened again, and it happened again. I said, okay, I better get to the doctor and see what's up. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor immediately said, well, we need to send you to an x-ray guy. So I go to the x-ray guy. And then the x-ray guy, they have you swallow this little pill, and you can see it going down in your esophagus, and there it was, it got stuck. He said, oh, it's probably just a blockage in your esophagus, no big deal. So then they sent me to an endocrinologist, and they scoped me, and they were saying the whole thing. They were saying, it's probably no big deal, we're just going to have to widen your esophagus, and we'll take care of that for you today. So I wake up from the scope, and the guy says, oh, your esophagus is fine. Looks like we found a growth in your stomach, and I said, well, what do you think it is? And he said, well, stomach cancer is very rare, is what he said. That's how he answered the question. And I knew right then that I was in trouble when he said that. And I said, well, when do I find out? And he said, well, you'll find out tomorrow. And I said, well, that's pretty fast, considering I can't get a dental appointment. San Luis Obispo, there's like 4 doctors for every 5,000 people in San Luis Obispo. So I was getting moved to the front of the line, and that was scary for me. So anyhow, the doctor told me the next day that I had stomach cancer, and then that just started this big firestorm of events. So next week was followed with scans and tubes and IVs and barium and contrast and stress and tears and meetings with principals and phone tag with doctors, offices, and internet research and a million phone calls, and worst of all, voicemail. That's what I love about Stanford. No voicemail, somebody actually answers the phone. It's fantastic. And all this time I'm trying to teach middle school and couldn't take care of all this, which was really, really frustrating. And then once you learn you have cancer, you have to inform people that you have it. And that's really, really difficult. The first person you have to tell is yourself. And you have to come to terms with it and believe that it's actually happening to you. And I remember sitting in my classroom one day after school and just trying to make sense of it all. And I knew I had to tell my wife, and I knew I had to tell my parents. And I knew the news would be devastating. I was really nervous about doing it, and concerned about all the chain of events that would happen afterwards. So I went home that day and I told my wife, and naturally there were a lot of tears, concerns, and questions about it. And I called my parents that night on the phone and informed them that I was sick. And I remember barely being able to do that, not because I had cancer necessarily, but because I knew it would be horrible, horrible news for them to receive, and it was. Then once you inform people that you have cancer, everybody wants to help, and that's kind of a really, really neat thing. People, they come out from everywhere really to help you out, and it's terrific. And this leads to dozens of daily phone calls and visitations and emails and letters and text messages, which of course prevent you from scheduling appointments and working and returning calls and processing and researching and doing what you need to do. So it's kind of a catch-22. It's like, thanks for the help. I'm kind of busy. And then you feel like a real ingrate for feeling that way, but nonetheless, I did. But the whole process of getting cancer is completely overwhelming, and not only for me, but for my wife Stacy, for everybody. And you're grateful for the help that you get. And all you want to do is determine how you're going to get yourself out of the mess that you're in. So as I said, you fear that people are going to be insulted or hurt or consider you an ingrate if you don't accommodate their attempts to be helpful, so you do it. At least I did. I felt like I owed everybody that much. And as you do, you realize that having cancer is not just about me. It's about the people in the black zone that I refer to. They need help, and they need information, and they need consoling, and they need love, and they need accessibility, and answers, and assurance, and support just as much as I did. So people want to help, and I'm very lucky to have that support. I've received gifts from students and family at school. I've been the recipient of hundreds of cards, letters, phone calls. I've had candles lit for me in churches every week. I've had people give me good luck charms. I've received magic dirt from religious institutions. And I've been the subject of group prayers in churches across the nation. And I've been offered tons of medical advice and suggestions that people thought would be helpful. And I have people offering medicinal products all the time as well. So, brownies, oil, various products, potions, lotions. I've had friends offer to design web pages for me to inform friends and family of my updates and to organize dinner deliveries and transportation to and from appointments. And I have a good luck origami crane that I carry in my wallet each day that a student gave me, and I'm hoping to take advantage of that soon. And my friend Jeremy, just this evening, gave me this good luck. I don't think it's a coin, but it looks like it's a 4-leaf clover, and it said he brought an hip luck. So I'm interested in using some of that luck myself. So thank you, Jeremy, very much. So once you have cancer, you realize that there are a lot of other people that have cancer. And it's a secret for a lot of people. And I was talking earlier this evening, and he told me, Mr. Feinstein, as a matter of fact, he said, we're the type of people that, we just kind of, we're really, really open about it, and some people are really, really closed about it. And I think it's important to be open about it and let people know what's going on with you. If they know what's going on, they can get a little bit of the experience and have an opportunity to help out. But anyway, it's a secret for some, and people I've known for years, and I never knew it, that they had cancer, or a friend's spouse, or a kid at school, or a neighbor. I mean, they just come out of the woodwork. I mean, you never know. And I realized that there's a whole bunch of people that I have known or been close to that have experienced this. I actually saw people I knew while in chemotherapy getting chemotherapy. I'm like, what are you doing here? Which is the dumbest question I probably ever asked. So people from work have it, friend's dentist has it, your garbage man has it, secretary's boyfriend has it, your boss's mother has it, lots of people have it. And these are the people that know what the score is, the people that know what to say when they learn that you have cancer. They tell you what to expect and what to do, what this drug does and what that drug does. They tell you, what to do when your arm hurts and how much water to drink and which drugs have which side effects and which doctors know what's up. Which office has the root secretary and who you speak to instead of that other lady, and so on and so on and so on. And they're practical about everything because they've done it. And one of those people, his name is Laura Kirshner, who just beat bladder cancer. She's a really, really good friend of mine, and I'm really close to her and her family these days. And she lives in San Luis Obispo. So as I was saying earlier, the first thing you ask is, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why isn't it happening to somebody else? Because cancer is supposed to happen to somebody else. It's not supposed to happen to me. And not long afterwards, you think, well, why not me? Stomach cancer is the 4th most common cause of cancer and the 2nd leading cause of cancer deaths. And as many of you know, the National Cancer Institute estimates that in the United States, 21,600 new cases of stomach cancer will be diagnosed, and more than 10,990 Americans will die from that disease this year. And despite these statistics, in the US, stomach cancer receives less than 0.5% of federal funding for cancer research, which I thought was astonishing, really, given those statistics. So I learned a lot about the medical profession over the course of the last 6 months too, and I met some amazing people in the course of that time, all of which would be acknowledged if I had a lot of time to do it, and are above average memory for names, which I don't, but there are a few people that I would like to acknowledge tonight, and one of them is Dr. Norton. Is he here this evening? Because I've not seen him. No? Well, Dr. Norton works for Stanford Hospital, and he's a very, very amazing man. He works in surgical oncology, and he's considered the best in his field. And he was my surgeon at Stanford. And I had the pleasure of meeting him numerous times prior to my surgery. And he's really, really to the point. If you don't know Dr. Norton, you should meet him. And the man of few words. He just doesn't mix words. He just tells you how it is. And that doesn't mean that I always liked what he had to say, but I always appreciated it. He was just completely honest with you. And we met Dr. Norton, came up with a game plan, and along with my oncologist in San Luis Obispo, I would undergo 9 weeks of chemotherapy, and that was supposed to shrink my tumor, and it did. And afterwards, I got my entire stomach removed, and that was really, really hard getting your mind around. Somebody said they're going to remove their stomach, and I've met a few people here tonight that have had that procedure, and I'm really, really happy to see that they're doing so well. And it's great to see that. I'm glad that things are going really, really well for you guys. And then after having my stomach removed, I would have to learn how to eat again, and afterwards I would undergo another 9 weeks of chemo to mop up any cells that may have been still lingering in my body. And my wife and I were told at the appointment that after 9 weeks of chemo, the first 9, that my tumor had shrunk so much that it wasn't even detectable on the scan. And we were stoked. And Dr. Norton actually smiled. Dr. Ford knows what I'm talking about. So we were really, really relieved and enjoyed seeing the smile on Dr. Norton's face. And it wasn't until the surgery had started that Dr. Norton learned that the cancer spread throughout my abdomen, and that it was pointless to remove my stomach because if he did, I would still have cancer. So there was really no point in doing that at that time. So my family was in the waiting room and was informed shortly after my surgery was canceled that my life would be most likely shortened considerably. And it was a huge blow for everybody as we were all going in the situation with really, really high hopes and a positive attitude. So we were all pretty crushed about that. And I have the greatest respect and admiration for Dr. Norton because not only did he have the courage to surgically remove my stomach, but he made a more courageous decision not to remove it. And I'm thankful for that. And I wish he was here tonight so I could thank him in person. The other person I'd like to thank is Dr. Ford, who is here this evening. And yeah. And Dr. Ford is a medical oncologist and a geneticist at Stanford, and is devoted to studying the genetic basis of breast and GI cancer development, treatment, and prevention. And Dr. Ford's clinical interests include the diagnosis and treatment of patients with a hereditary predisposition to cancer, and he runs the Stanford Cancer Genetics Clinic. And he's also one of the first doctors to use one of my new favorite words, which is years. I don't know if you remember saying that to me, but you said that I could have years and live with this for a while. And when you have cancer, you listen to the doctors, you hang on every single word that they say, every one. And I really appreciated when you said that, and I hope you're right. So thank you for all you do. I also want to thank the board, everybody on the board. I met some of you guys this evening, and thank you so much for doing what you do and supporting this great cause. I know that a lot of you have had losses in your family with gastric cancer, and what you guys are doing as a result of that is very, very positive, fantastic. So thank you for that to all of you. It's been a pleasure to meet you all. I also want to thank Dr. John Minna, who is not here. And Dr. John Minna is a friend of my father-in-law's, Eric Wright, who is right over here. And Dr. Min is the director of the Hammond Center for Therapeutic Oncology Research at the University of Texas in Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. He's a friend of my father, like I said. He put us in direct contact with the best in the field, which is Dr. Norton and Dr. Ford's office. And Dr. Min has spent many hours on the phone with us over the last 6 months. And we hung up the phone each time with a great sense of knowledge and comfort. And he was the man who provided us with our first steps to recovery, and was the man who put us in contact with Stanford. And I wish I was here, or he was here to thank him as well. My oncologist down in San Luis Obispo's name is Dr. Thomas Spillane, and he's great. And he's my local oncologist, and his demeanor and knowledge and willingness to work with Stanford have been terrific. He definitely wants what is best for me, as does everybody. And he's my age, which is kind of strange. He reminds me about that all the time. He says, "Wow, I'm your age." And he says it's strange helping somebody that's his age. And he tells me that he's going to treat me as if I was his own brother. For an oncologist and doctor to say that, you don't hear that a lot. And he's gentle and has a way of making you feel loved and well cared for. I owe this man a great deal and admire what he and his staff accomplish on a daily basis. And his staff and the chemotherapy wing of his office is truly amazing. And they're my heroes, as are the hundreds of people that sit in those chemotherapy chairs each week. Stanford Hospital. How many people here are associated with Stanford? Really? Half Stanford. All right. Well, our experience at Stanford Hospital has been amazing. From the parking lot attendant, to the valet, to the information booth, to the custodians, to the receptionists, to the nurses, to the lab workers, to the doctors. What an outstanding place to be. And Stanford provides the utmost care and cares for its patients. And the hospital is a really, really scary place. I don't know if you've been to a hospital lately, but it's kind of a trip. Especially the oncology department. People are really sick, and when you get there, you can't help but see yourself in their position someday down the line. You know that these people used to be healthy and look much like you did prior to having cancer. And in them, you see yourself, and it's difficult to process that. People have no hair, and they wear oxygen masks, and they use wheelchairs, and wear bandanas, and wigs, and breathe with respirators, and so on. You also get poked or prodded in the hospital, and things sting there. People are always putting tape on your skin and ripping it off. And there are tubes where there shouldn't be, and people want to look where you don't want them to. And there are cold things and hot things and smelly things, and you get cut open and stitched back up again, or in my case, super glued again. People are always coming around and asking you for things like blood and urine samples. They make you walk in the middle of the night when you don't want to, and eat food you would never eat, and take blood pressure every 4 hours. You get pumped full of medication, all of which have side effects. Some make you go to the bathroom too much, some keep you from going in at all. Some give you headaches, and some upset your stomach. Some keep you awake at night, and others put you down for the night. I even had a special team that inquired as to whether or not I had passed gas. I want you to imagine the Got Milk commercial. There's a whiteboard in my hospital room that said, "Pass gas." And the Pass Gas Committee actually wrote that on the board, and my visitors would, of course, come by to see me, and they would read that, and they would ask me about it. Had I farted yet? Was it a big fart? Did it clear the room? Was your mother there when it happened? Did it cause the Napa earthquake? There's no privacy in the hospital, none. But at the end of the day, you stay at Stanford, you realize that you love every single person that works there, but at the same time, you never want to see any of them again. And I'm very, very thankful for everything that Stanford has done for me and my family. Another person I'd really like to thank today is Cindy Gallagher, who Cindy's a new friend of ours, and she invited us here today and has kept us in the loop and has been a tremendous resource for us. And I want to say that you have no idea how much you've helped us, but I know you do know how much you've helped us. So thank you. Many of you already probably know Cindy, as she's on the board of the Gastric Cancer Foundation, and her husband J.P. Gallagher founded the Gastric Cancer Foundation in 2009, and Cindy knows what's up. So thank you for everything, Cindy. So my wife was introduced to Cindy through a mutual friend, and Cindy, who's here tonight? Where are you? Where is she? No, you're where is she? Just met? She did. Oh, there she is. There it is. This is Shaughnessy's. Yeah, there you go. And Cindy's counseled us multiple times over the phone and provided great comfort to my wife and myself during the process. She assisted us with getting to know Stanford and made us feel very, very comfortable. And it's great to meet you tonight for the first time in person. So despite all my excellent care, family support, and wonderful insurance, everywhere I go, people tell me I have great insurance, which is great. I will most likely eventually lose my battle of cancer unless some new technology arises or a new treatment. And it doesn't seem possible that something like that can happen to me with the resources that I have. Simply put, the doctors don't have the proper funding and support to combat this disease. And my oncologist once told me that getting chemotherapy and then removing your stomach and then more chemotherapy will one day seem barbaric compared to the treatments and possible cures that are on the horizon. So I'm a part-time optimist, but I'm also a realist. And I know that the odds I face, and I know that I'm not in denial about what is happening to me. And I realize that my time on this earth may be cut short, and I will most likely not be the one who benefits from extended research, but maybe the next 21,600 people who are diagnosed with this disease will be. I'm hoping to be among them. So these people could be your sons, they could be your daughters, your parents, your spouse, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, or your friends. So I want you to think of the people who make up your blast zone and then act accordingly. And they say it takes a village, and I've always hated that cliche, but it's hard to argue with. I shared with you earlier about all the comments I received from people when I was diagnosed, and one of the comments I appreciated the most is when somebody sends me hope, because hope is real. It isn't based on faith. And I have a lot of hope for myself, for my family, and for the future of others. And I'm hoping by speaking to you today that my story will influence you to not only support the Gastric Cancer Foundation financially, but will motivate you to motivate others to do so. Support our doctors and consider a fundraiser, big or small. Our friend Laura recently hosted a Tummies and Tatas party. It's supposed to be just a Tatas party, but they snuck me in. And they had a good time. There was wine and food and shopping and gossip and baby pictures, and I'm so glad I wasn't there. It was a social event that benefited not only Gastric Cancer Foundation, but breast cancer research as well. And Laura couldn't be here tonight, but I know she would like to. So my wife is going to start a beach walk to benefit the Gastric Cancer Foundation in the spring. Once again, a fun, healthy way to promote awareness and raise money for the cause. So I'm hoping that as many of you as possible can join us in San Luis Obispo this spring and walk the shores of Pisco Beach. And you can all stay at our place. Most people are not going to organize a beach walk or a fundraising party or attend this wonderful event each year. But that doesn't mean that they don't want to help. In fact, people repeatedly ask for ways to help. That was the experience that Stacy and I had. And they seemed actually frustrated that their options were so limited. And the obvious response to somebody when they ask is, how can I help? And the answer, maybe it's a bit sarcastic, is, well, you can cure my cancer. And sometimes people look at you a little funny when you say that. But my grandfather used to say, many truths are said in jest. That was one of his big sayings. And we live in an interesting time. Due to social media, I know exactly what my niece ate for dinner due to Facebook. And I'm pretty sure she does not actually qualify as a vegetarian, which she claims to be. I think you need to actually eat vegetables to be a vegetarian. Don't tell her I said that. I know whose birthday it is. I know that my friend Tom did 50 sit-ups yesterday. I learned Taylor Swift has a new album out, and I've seen millions of pictures of cats, mostly thanks to Robin, and videos of Pee Wee football highlights. I know how far my mother walked this afternoon, and she knows exactly how far I walked this afternoon. So imagine what could be accomplished if we use our social media to promote a cure for gastric cancer. My wife, with the assistance of the Gastric Cancer Foundation, was able to set up a fundraising page. And it was simple. She typed a letter, she shared a little bit of our story, and provided a link to our webpage for people that were interested in supporting us throughout our endeavor. And when that was done, she posted a link on Facebook and Caring Bridge, and we waited. We were shocked at the response we received. We received support from family, friends of friends, and people I've never met. People from the old neighborhood that I haven't seen in 25 years have visited the site and supported us. I have a good friend named Paul. He got his entire fantasy football league to make donations. Most of those guys I've never met before, as well as their family members. So family members of people I don't even know are supporting my friends' friends, which is pretty amazing. And that just would have never happened 20 years ago. So I don't know who a lot of these people are, but I'm trying to. My mom is being supported by her friends. My dad received support from his former employer. And my in-laws have received support from their friends. And remember, cancer is not about one person. That's I want to keep coming back to. It happens to one person in particular, but it just affects a very, very large group of people. And it affects the family, it affects the community, and each member of that family wants to help. And it's great that the Gastric Cancer Foundation has set up these websites for people to do so. So the website, which enabled us to raise money for gastric cancer research, not only provides people with an opportunity to support families experiencing cancer emotionally, but provides people with an opportunity to participate in finding a cure by making a financial donation to finance the doctors and researchers who are working so hard to cure this disease. The people seem thankful to have the opportunity to do that, and I was really, really surprised by that. People were thanking us for the opportunity to spend money. So I can't think of very many instances where that is the case, but that was the case. So I'd like to get back to the people who are on my blast zone again. So I love them dearly, and I know how upset they will be if this whole thing doesn't work out for me. I also know that life goes on. And my wife is going to start the second half of her life. And I know my parents will continue to travel in their trailer, and that my father-in-law will at some point actually retire from Santa Clara Law School. I know my sister will work as a terrific speech therapist, and that my cousins will marry and continue to have children. I know Elena will meet the man of her dreams, continue to excel at work, and be happy for the rest of her life. And I'm going to miss out on all these things, and that angers me. But life goes on, and that's actually what concerns me. I'm not concerned that I'm going to be forgotten if I don't survive this disease, but I am concerned that perhaps my battle with gastric cancer will be forgotten. So hopefully, before you leave today, you will choose to support the cause in one way or another, and you're already doing so by being here this evening, and I thank you for that. However, tomorrow, when you return to work and family life, I hope you can manage to periodically remember what was said here today and try to make a difference in somebody else's life some other day. If this can happen to me and my family, then it can happen to you and one of your family members. So right now I'm on what's referred to as in the medical profession as a maintenance program. So this means I'll most likely be on medication for the rest of my life and will be forced to live with cancer, much like any other chronic disease. So I hope to set the example for others as I battle cancer and I choose to live with cancer and will make the best of it. I hope to live the rest of my days with dignity and grace. And currently, I'm not technically a cancer survivor, but I am cancer surviving. And I hope that one day, people can live with cancer much like they do now, with AIDS or diabetes, or with the proper treatment and care, one can measure their life in decades instead of months. And I hope to be among those people. A life where one can plan a vacation and not have to wonder if they'll live long enough to see it through. To not have to buy Christmas gifts in July. To not have the time to make a difference in somebody else's life. To experience their parents' 50th anniversary. To be that old couple you see walking through the neighborhood. Most of all, I want to live long enough to celebrate my 20th anniversary, which is next October. So there have been a lot of people that have been making a difference in my life lately. I've been fortunate enough to hear from just about everybody I know, and a few people that I forgot about over the years. People have told me that I've positively influenced them, that they love me, and that I matter. And if I matter to somebody else, then my life has had meaning. And what a wonderful awakening that has been. I mean, what more can you ask for? Cancer has enabled me to see what a great life I've had, that I was valued, and that despite my diagnosis, I'm a pretty lucky guy. On behalf of my family, my doctors, and my friends, I thank you for being here today. I would like to ask my wife Stacy to come up here and present the Gastric Cancer Foundation with a check on behalf of all the people that have helped raise these funds, and for all the people who will benefit as a result of the Gastric Cancer Foundation having received these funds. And we actually have a scroll. Where is that scroll?
That's right.
Mr. Feinstein, will you please come up and accept this check from us, please? So we have a check in the amount of $55,150. Did a great job. She made a scroll up here with the names of all the people in our circle of friends, or our last known, so to speak, that donated to the fund. And it's quite an extensive list, as you can see, and I'd like to encourage you to come up and take a look at that later.
I don't know where to begin to thank you, so I'm going to keep it simple and just thank you. It takes extraordinary courage to tell us as candidly as you did your personal story, and we just wish you Godspeed.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. I think I leave this place and Lauren comes back. Are you here? There you are. Thank you, John.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've